Hey friends. So I'm here by the lake again. It's a little noisier today. I'm gonna try and speak up because I did a little test. I think you should be able to hear me. But we got a little wind, we got a little agitation in the water today. Perfectly befitting some of the emotional waves that have blown through my awareness in the last 24 hours or so. So yesterday I watched a video by Sadhguru. He was talking about the Guru Purnima, which is the day that Adi Yogi, who's credited as being the first yogi, became a teacher and started transmitting his teaching. And it happened, so I mean, I don't know if this is like, historically documented or if this is just the legend, but the legend is, or certainly the story is, that it happened on the first full moon in July, or the first full moon after the summer solstice. I suppose that could be end of June as well. But it's a day when the moon is closer to the earth than at any other full moon. And so Sadhguru was talking about the effect that this has on the fluids in our body. Like the way that the tide is affected by the moon, so are all the fluids and cells in our body. But it's not just physical waves, it's also waves of thought, waves of emotion, waves of consciousness. Wherever we are in our consciousness, that will be magnified. And I've heard him talk about this before, and I had a series several months ago, a series of experiences where I kept feeling as though there was an influence on me. There was a tug, some kind of energetic tug was pulling me in a certain direction. And I couldn't really explain it, but a handful of times, a series of times that all kind of happened in a row, I went and checked the phases of the moon, because I'd been listening to Sadhguru talk about this, and sure enough, it was a full moon, or it was a new moon. There were these, it was like I nailed it 5 or 6 times in a row. It was like it was this, I felt this weird energetic tug, and then suddenly I checked with the moon, and the moon, sure enough, was in some sort of peak phase. And last night, I felt myself kind of getting pulled down a certain road, getting pulled down a certain kind of emotional rabbit hole. And I didn't catch it for a few minutes. But then, at some point, I went, oh no, wait a minute. I know what's happening here. I see what's happening, yeah. It's a Moana quote. I was like, okay, I see what's happening now. I get. Everything kind of clicked. It's like this tug, I'm being pulled down here. This is where I can habitually go, not always under this influence, but it's where I certainly can go. And so I said, wait a minute, let's not do that. Let me find my way to a meditative awareness, a joyful awareness. a loving awareness. And it was like immediate. As soon as I gave my system the imperative to connect with my inner, with the source of my own consciousness, which is basically what I do in meditation, to connect with that meditative place of stillness, it was like I could hear it ringing in my ears. It was like there was a loudspeaker playing that state into my mind. And I thought, okay, Sadhguru, maybe you're onto something with this. But it was really interesting because I had to kind of face, because on one level, Sadhguru's whole thing is like, well, wherever you are, that's going to be enhanced. If you're in a place of darkness, the darkness will be enhanced. If you're in a place of light, the light will be enhanced. The moon just enhances what's already there. And so it's like, okay, be in a meditative state. Let's put myself in a meditative state. But you also can't fake it. You can't just pretend to be peaceful or force a state of peacefulness so and somehow try and manipulate the heavenly bodies into, into having an effect that you desire, but that's not really what's true for you. So I just noticed myself being gentle. And I thought, okay, well, what if this darkness, what if this gunky energy that I'm wrestling with, what if I can be in a place of embracing where I am, of embracing what's here now, and loving something that I don't understand, and loving something that feels unlovable. What if I put myself in a state of loving the unlovable? Because there was a moment in my mind where my mind asked, but can I really love this if I don't even know what it is, and I don't even, it seems so ugly? And immediately the answer was, of course you can. Of course you can love this. You simply love it. You decide to send the energy of love towards it. That's all. And that's not necessarily always easy to do, but it's always possible. And if I'm loving the unlovable, if I'm loving the human being or the spirit behind this kind of gunky, dark stuff, what if that's what I'm enhancing, or what I'm allowing to be enhanced? So that was kind of where I ended up, because I started to observe that I couldn't just pretend like there was no darkness. I couldn't just act like, oh, I'll just shift my focus and sort of repress this. But at the same time, I'm getting nowhere by focusing on it. So let's find a way of honestly, like being an honest spiritual practice that isn't asking for anything. It's just giving love to what is. Because if I could do that day in, day out, and that were my true moment-to-moment practice, anything would be possible. There'd be nothing. There'd be no need for any kind of worry or fear, because anything that came up would be lovable. So it became a pretty powerful full moon experience. It became a moment where I noticed the effect of the full moon. I saw some momentum of my own in a kind of negative direction, but I caught it in time, and then I was able to convert it and feel the enhancement of a very different kind of energy, of a very different kind of awareness. I felt like I turned a corner in consciousness somehow, because instead of letting that energy run with me for very long, I sort of used the experience of its enhancement to say, hold on, I'm like pouring gasoline on the wrong fire here. That's not what I'm literally just growing a conflagration of emotions that I don't really want to experience, and I don't want to be transmitting or sharing with anybody else. So loving the unlovable became my practice. And man, I feel like if I can do that consistently, if I can use this experience, which was a pretty intense one, on like the biggest full moon of the year, you know, that's a good time to practice. Like if you can do it then, maybe I can do it every other day of the year too. You know? So yeah, that's what happened. That's where I'm at this morning. I hope you can hear me over these waves. They're very beautiful, but they are noisy. Being here is being in heaven. There's no two ways about it. Thanks for watching, folks. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. Hope to see you soon.